In this episode of Pepper Soup Stories, hosts Petrenia Wirtz-Onwoha and Ejimin Okojie sit down with Bola Olahomi Otubu, an HR executive turned construction entrepreneur whose story proves that setbacks can become setups for something greater. When Bola faced an unjust corporate termination during the pandemic, she didn't let adversity define her. Instead, she pivoted into construction and real estate, building a thriving business that now employs over 30 people. Today, Bola opens up about navigating injustice, rebuilding confidence, and transforming her passions into purpose. From leadership lessons to turning obstacles into opportunities, this conversation is a masterclass in turning life's pepper into pepper soup.
Hello, soulmates. You're now listening to Pepper Soup Stories meant to soothe the souls of women everywhere.
Hello, soulmates. You have Petrenia Speaks. You have my co-host today, Ejimin Okojie, better known as Jay. And we have the pleasure of hosting our guest today. Her name is Bola Olajomi Otubu. She's an accomplished professional whose career exemplifies resilience and versatility. With graduate credentials from Cranville University, and everybody knows how difficult it is to get into Cranville, and an undergraduate degree from the University of Ibadan. She's built an impressive career as a human resources director and senior executive in Nigeria's corporate sector. After advocating for herself following an unjust termination and securing a substantial settlement, that money, yes, Bola successfully pivoted to entrepreneurship in the construction and real estate industry. Today, she leads a thriving construction business that has created employment opportunities for over 30 people. She is impacting over 30 households. What a blessing and an opportunity. Her remarkable journey showcases the power of professional reinvention, principled leadership, and entrepreneurial vision while making a positive impact on Nigeria's economy through job creation. Please join me in welcoming Bola Olajomi Otubu to the stage. Yay! The crowd goes wild. Welcome, madam.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Yes. We just invite you, if you want to share anything on your heart that you want to make sure your soulmates take away from your time today, just lead with that, and then we'll follow into the rest of the program.
Okay, thank you for having me, ladies. I think the first thing I would say is it's never too late to start a new career. It's never too late to start something new. And if anybody else can do it, why can't you?
I love that. What is the saying in Nigeria? Do they have two heads?
Yes, do they have two heads? Yes. I was going to say that, and I said, okay, nobody has two heads.
Wusa.
Okay.
Just some background. The Pepper Soup for the Soul podcast is a flavorful blend of conversations with thought leaders, experts, and everyday sheroes. We're going to call you a shero today, Bola, who bring you stories and insights to warm your heart and stimulate your mind. Our mission is through storytelling, sharing strategies and real-life practical ways to turn peppery circumstances that burn our eyes into flavorful, soothing pepper soup. Our taglines are, if life gives you pepper, make pepper soup. And remember to pamper your soul. Self-love, self-care is really required because your soul is your baby, and when it flourishes, so do you. My co-host and I have been blessed professionally and personally to have ground many peppers. And we feel called to share our wisdom and that of our network so that our sisters around the world can get a leg up and skip the broken wrong in their careers, relationships, and femininity, wellness, and wherever our audience is calling for. Armed with 50 years of corporate experience in the U.S. and Africa, complemented with coaching credentials in career, wellness, and leadership. Twice a month, we bring this body of experience to your door, to your ear. We are your hosts, Ajemin and Petrinia. Today we have the pleasure again of speaking and chatting with Bola. We have been, displaying our resilience as we get onto this call today. One of our first questions, again, thank you, Bola, for being on with us. And our first question is, Bola, you made a remarkable shift from being a director of HR at Guinness, Nigeria, to building a construction business. What sparked this transformation, and how did you navigate the challenges of entering an entirely new industry?
So, between Guinness and Guinness Nigeria, I went to work for an oil and gas organization. And there I was the general manager in charge of human resources and admin. Well, I guess it was not a very pleasant experience for me, and it was a very big learning point for me. So at the end of towards the end of, I fell out with the CEO. We had some really ethical and behavioral differences that could not be reconciled. And I was terminated unjustly. So I decided to take them to court. And this was during COVID. It was right in the heart of COVID. So you can imagine being by yourself, alone, at home, losing your job. You've not done anything wrong. And you're now thinking, what will I do? Then I was reading stories about me on social media, and I was like, who the hell is this person they're talking about? It wasn't me. And it got me, when you're by yourself and you're just like, I just got really angry at some point. So after I got past the, oh my God, I'm crying, why did this happen to me? What am I going to do phase of it? Then I got really mad. I got really angry. Mm-hmm. And I felt I would not let someone just assassinate my career and then take my reputation hostage, like I was saying before. Because after a while, it got to a point where I was almost scared to leave my door. I was convinced everybody was talking about me and the fact that how I got fired. So I decided to go to court, and and it was really hard not to play the social media game, for instance. So for everything I saw, I wanted to respond. For everything I was looking, after a while, I just decided, you know what? I've decided to go a particular path, which means the professional path. So I will stick to it. It was hard. Mm-hmm. So the professional thing to do after talking to my husband was just, why don't you just go to court and leave it there? So I went to court. It took onwards of a year.
Really?
But they were eventually forced to settle because it was going to be a big issue for them, and the regulators kept asking them to go and settle because they had done wrong by me. However, like I was telling a friend of mine 3 weeks ago, I think it was just God giving me a kick in the butt to get out of corporate life. And something was just about to happen, and I wasn't sensitive enough in my spirit, and God had to uproot me. So with benefit of hindsight, I'm thankful that I went through that experience, because it has brought me to where I am. And it has fast-tracked getting me to where I am, because I am a strong believer in, even when you make wrong decisions, if you have faith in God, He has a way of making all things work together for your good.
And just sit in it for a moment. Because many of our soulmates probably are going through injustice at work. Mm. If you look globally, on the U.S. side, there are many people just losing their jobs, and there's no real good reason for it. And often we're in situations where we're having microaggressions at work, and the micro, once it's all these little bites, you're being spoken over, you're not being acknowledged, you're not allowed in the room where they're throwing blame on you, so you can't even defend yourself. I just want to honor you, because when we're in those spaces, it's easy to get sucked in, like you said, to social media. And that's a defense game. And what I love is I look at your difficulty, because this is a big old pepper, girl. This is a pepper if you ever had one. You decided to do an offense. So the when we do the defense of many against all of that, it really doesn't accumulate to much, but it's so much energy expended. And
So
if we sit in our what do you call it, our animal brain, that's what we want to do. We just want to respond. But you made a choice and chose your response. And it was a legal route. It was a way to vindicate. It was one blow that hit many of those targets. So I just want to applaud you for not surrendering to the easy reaction. You chose your response. And maybe the other point is whoever's going through an issue right now, often in hindsight, there's so much clarity. In hindsight, you're able to see that the perspective of this was my kick in the butt. This is what I needed to move. God knew that whole master plan, and I'm struggling in chapter 2, and God's already in chapter 50. So I just want to encourage anyone that may be going through what Bola has described and what she experienced to know that there's a bigger picture, and often all we have to do is zoom out to see it. So thank you, Bola, for being an example
thank
of
you.
what is possible. Yeah, when adversity comes, reframe that thing, reframe it into advantage. So the advantage, when you say that God was positioning you, please tell us more about what this adversity allowed you to be able to take advantage of.
I think two things. The fact that it was COVID and there wasn't much to do apart from staying in your house and really digging into who you are. Then also saying, okay, what next? I've also always told people that after HR, I never wanted to, if I ever retire from HR, I wasn't going to be a consultant. I wasn't going to be this. I just wanted to do something different. I didn't know what it was. At some point, it was like I wanted to get a PhD and teach. That was what, and it's still one of my passions, teaching. So I said, okay, what next do I do? So I've always had the hobby of doing up people's houses and looking into people's houses and saying, interesting, if it was my house, this is what I would do. And friends would ask me for help when they were building or decorating a space. So during the 2 years of COVID, my husband just mentioned to me that I was driving him crazy by changing everything in the house, for instance. It was like, why don't you just turn this thing into a business? Why don't you just build a house from scratch? And then see what you can do with it, because most times people will say I should come and help them with the interiors of their house, and by the time I tell them all the things they need to do before I can then come and make it look pretty, it's like they have to rebuild the entire house. So my husband said, why don't you just do something? So I started. There was this plot of land that I had invested in for a long time in the estate where I'd lived. So I decided to build, and I realized I'm actually good at this, I don't know, maybe because of the years in private sector, the years of in HR, where you have the attention to detail, where you have to think through, where you have to know what the end is, even by the time you're starting. When I applied those skills to supervising people building a property for me, it came in very useful. So I did the first one. It turned out really well. I did the second one. It turned out really well. And all of a sudden, I realized that I hired the first person, I hired the second person, I hired the third person. And when I look back now, I have 30 plus people that work with me over a period of 3 years. Then I also learned, maybe this comes from working in the corporate sector, of knowing what I do not know, and being confident of asking the stupid questions, and being confident enough to ask why and look really stupid, even to people that are my employees. So I will ask a question, why does that column have to be that wide? Why do we have to use rebars of that size? They seem like pretty pedantic questions, but it was imperative for me to understand the basics of how a house is built, the regulations around how houses are built, the technical areas of, as much as I can learn without going into engineering school, of how houses are built, so that when I'm in a room and I'm asking the experts questions, I can ask the right questions.
I love that. And if I were to just kind of recap what I heard from you, you took the time to look introspectively. You had the opportunity and you took it over COVID. And you begin to notice, what is it that people come to me for? And what is it that I have a passion for? Took your habit, your hobby, and you kind of inventory your strengths. You inventory your strengths, and when you have strengths, you've been playing in this playground. It takes wisdom and it takes courage to pick up those strengths and move them to a different playground. And I love that you were able to do that. And what I admire is what's called, it's different type of knowledges. And one of them is conscious incompetence. Many people have no idea what they don't know. So you see them walking around paying high price for ignorance. So I love that you were able to stand in a space of confidence. And that happens when you know what you know, what you know. You're very comfortable with saying, this thing I do not know, and I will pry into it. So conscious competence, knowing what you don't know, and being willing to apply curiosity, which is another strength. Be willing to look vulnerable that you don't know and ask the question. That's really bringing a learner's mind and a growth mindset.
Absolutely.
And that's we're able to grow, you're able to build connections because you're building a team, you're looking at the strength. And what I like about our store, I'm just hearing so many things that are kind of the same. I am an engineer. My first degree is engineering. Even as I move into the real estate space, I never did construction. So I'm really strong in project management and, integration. But I'm asking the same questions. What's that footing for? My husband is a construction and geotechnical civil engineer. I was always the people integration kind of engineer. I can relate so well. And maybe I know the big thing for me right now is I'm learning for a lot of people younger than me. And it takes a certain humility, doesn't it? To be able to, this thing I need to know, it doesn't matter who it's coming from. And that's also something, ladies and soulmates, we need to bring to situations. We can learn from anyone. So humble yourself.
And asking why. I don't understand. Explaining to me. And I have a phrase that my team now use as well. I would like, explain it like I'm an idiot. Break it down to me. Yes, break it down to me like I'm an idiot. And you'll be shocked the amount of information and knowledge you acquire just by asking why and how eager people are to share knowledge with you, especially when they know you're coming from a place of you're really genuine in your heart and you really want to understand it as well. And besides, for me, it's a matter of survival, understanding the basics of how my costs is made up will determine whether my business will survive or not. Nigeria, there's so many other factors you need to compete with. What's the word?
Compute
that are outside of your control. But those things that are within your control, about learning about the basics of your business, what goes into the cost of your business, is within my control. So I just chose to focus on that.
I love it.
And I've been very I've been very blessed. The Lord has given me good people to work with, either my external consultants or the employees that God has directed my way. I'm not perfect. They are not perfect, but I think they're the best for me at this stage of my growth, of my business. And they're really passionate and they can see where they fit into the story. And it helps me. They help me get the confidence. And every time I'm sitting and I'm thinking, okay, am I really sure I could do something less stressful? Am I really sure I want to do this? I remember those people and I remember how hard they work to let all these plans we put in place come up and really look beautiful. And a lot of the projects that we're working on as well, we sell out. So I like it. And we have a waiting list. Yes, we have a waiting list of people that say,
sales. Everybody wants an off-plan sale, so you will be able to have money to invest. But what I see a pattern in what you're saying, and I call it the 3 C's. The first one is clarity, clear on what you focus on. So you were like, this I can control and this I can't. So the clarity of what you're trying to accomplish and focus. and you build competence is the second C. Your first house was successful, then the second house. And as you dig deeper in the thing, you build competence. And that competence then becomes confidence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I was sitting in my house and I was just being me, and someone called me on the phone and said, there's this project. This particular agency is looking for a JV partner to build 72 units somewhere in Lagos. And I was like, I can't do that. And the first thing the guy told me on the phone was, why can't you? I've seen what you've done. It's just replicating it 72 times. I'm going to tell them that you're going to throw your heart in the ring. What that taught me also was, when opportunities come, grab it and go and figure out how to do it. And that has given me the confidence. And then I can take up, people are coming to me to say, we don't want to buy from you. We want you to build our forever home. We've seen your house, we've seen the houses you've done, and I'm now getting bigger and bigger commissions. And it then looks like I can now start to choose who I build for. That is a blessing.
Yes,
that is a blessing. And now all this has come from a place where I felt, oh my God, my career was over. What was I going to do? Somebody's trying to ruin my reputation. Never say die, like we say in Nigeria. Never say die until the person is dead. It's not over until it's over. And right now, I wouldn't trade where I am for any other thing. Do I sometimes long for the boardroom and and those strategic conversations you have in a boardroom? Yes, I miss it. But would I take away from where I am at the moment? No. I love what I'm doing.
I love just the human side of it, because there are times where I say, whoa, I remember that check came every month, and I know it's gonna be, and it came regularly and all that good stuff. But the reverse is, people talk about personal branding, and I get that, but the bigger picture for me is legacy. And I don't know if you can relate to that, because all the people that are around you, even as they provide you with technical knowledge, all of the stuff that you did in the boardroom for all those years is just oozing out of you. So many people who are doing gigs and maybe they never worked in a structured environment, they're being blessed by the experience that you bring. And you're probably not even aware of it, because so this is an unconscious competence.
Competence, yes.
Don't even know that I was in a conversation yesterday with a guy, and once we reflected on it, he picked up many things I didn't intend, but I'm glad that he was able to pick it up. And you're a blessing to others, and then that becomes multi-generational, because that person you bless ends up blessing someone. So whenever you are missing that corporate boardroom, just remember that you have created the boardroom that others are sitting around.
Yeah, thank you.
Really good stuff. So it sounds like you've had quite the adventurous career path. How has your leadership approach evolved from managing corporate HR departments to running your own construction company with over 30 employees? That's just wow. So your approach, what are the things that you notice about your style? Has it evolved?
I've learned to slow down a bit. When you work in a corporate, and I didn't realize how much is done in the background to ensure your day as an executive runs smoothly. So there were some things I took for granted when I was in corporate, like my computer worked all the time. There was power, my coffee is there. When I say meeting starts at 2, it starts at 2. I've learned to flex. I've learned to walk into the office and they will tell me, oh, IT, your computer isn't working, and somebody's running around to fix it. I remember having a call with one of my former colleagues, and I called him and I said, oh, Chidi, those times I used to tell you, this isn't working, fix it now. I said, now. I'm the one that fixes it. I'm the one that fixes it.
When there's no IT department to call. Oh my goodness.
Now I'm IT, I'm finance, and I'm all of that. But what I learned from there is how to dial down and dial up my 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 style, and how to. I'm naturally a very red person. I'm very red and I'm very blue, which means I am in the detail, but I also push for results very hard. I've also learned to I've learned to just sit back and say, okay, what impact am I trying to make? What is important now? Because the even though I have my own engineers and people that work with me, majority of the people that deliver for us are artisans, and um, they're tradesmen. So you cannot manage them the way you would manage people in the corporate place. So it's always a conversation of a trade-off. We need you to do this by this time, and this is why we need you. And just going back to leadership skills 101 and learning how to deal with different people at different time. If you've been in the corporate for too long, and if you've been at a particular level for too long, there's a particular expectations you have of people, and they tend to want to come up to your own expectations. I don't know how to explain that. If
I
you
know
are like,
exactly. Culture. It's culture.
yes, but now because you have to come down to the level of your artisans and your vendors, and then explain to them why my lines should be straight, why this has to be done on time. We are messing around with my color charts means that the end user might not pay us our full fees. Coming down to that level. And also because I've been forced into a situation where, or I put myself in a situation where I do not know my listening skills and shutting up skills. I've had to pull it up a bit because I've had to learn to listen. I'm coming from a place, if you're talking about HR, you're talking about strategy, I can talk about it in my sleep. Now I have to listen and look around the room and figure out who is not talking and why they are not talking. Is there something important they have to say? But because of seniority of the people in the room, so having those one-to-ones, going on the site visits, and actually being a bit more informal in my approach to my team has delivered a lot more results for me. But not losing the formal parts, because I also want to build a sustainable business, putting the structures and the policies in place to drive the business as well.
Yeah.
That has helped.
Yeah. Some of the things I pull out of what you've said that really resonate with me is, as a leader, you need to be able to be situational. You need to know how to read the room. You need to be able to code switch. You need to be able to speak
Code
to your
switches.
Yes, speak to your PhD and speak to your third grade education, and getting from abstract, because often in corporate we say a whole bunch of things and everybody either knows what it means or they act like they know what it means because we've said the acronym or the whatever many times. But in driving to true meaning, two things resonate with me. My mother always said, it's nothing like a good understanding. And my first boss in my first engineering job said to me, Patrinia, communication only occurs when both parties understand. I had been taught to use big vocabulary to show how smart I was, right? But I was on the production floor using big vocabulary, and people just, but you walk away, and what they're doing is a no. You know what I mean? To go where your audience is in order to accomplish communication takes flexibility, dexterity. And I feel, as you go into, when you said dialing up and dialing down, being able to be situational, that's how we expand ourselves as leaders. Certainly we have a sweet spot, normal spot for us, but being able to read the room and say, oh, I need to be more inquisitive. Oh, I need to involve this other person, or note, I need to do a one-on-one with that person to go deeper. Those are things that allow us to expand our impact and really be more effective. I'm coaching a gentleman now, and who has said from the beginning that I care about my people. Why I need to? But he came from a very stoic family. He's explained to me that He's a Nigerian, but he was raised in England, and he said he even called his father sir. That's how formal they were. So it's stoic. And he has seen such a growth in his team's output just by showing care. He felt the care all the time, but people don't care what you know until they know that you care. So they are operating discretionary, doing things in the gray, going beyond the minimal because of that. So
Mm.
if anyone on your team were to be asked what type of leader you are, so we've heard from your perspective, your leadership style, how might someone that works with you describe Bola as a leader?
It depends. So they will tell you definitely Bola drives hard for results. Um, I expect people to be the best they can. I cannot tolerate. I cannot tolerate people that just do the barest minimum. I always say not just because I'm an employer, because I think they're doing themselves a disservice. They're robbing themselves of an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to see what they can become. They will tell you that
So put potential to purpose. You're trying to.
yes, they will tell you that I would have the back of my team. So when I lead a team, my team can go out in confidence and do what they need to do, knowing that when trouble comes, I'm there in the trenches with them. But that doesn't mean that they can go and run riot. But I would not hang my team, never hang my team out to dry. I would kill them in half for messing up. But there, they have the confidence of knowing, yes, we have a leader that has our back.
Externally united we stand. United we stand, right?
Yes, and that's one thing I always tell my team. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No. That's one conversation I always have with my team is you go out and when they say HR or when they say this team, we're not talking about any one person, we're talking about all of us collectively. So you never say that person, no finger pointing externally. Internally, we can deal with it to know where the weakest link is and block the issue, or externally we're one. So I would fire someone from my team for not being a team player, or I would rarely fire for someone that does not know what to do. I would invest in building competence, but I would not tolerate someone that is I would not tolerate it at all if you're not a team player. That's what else do they say about me? They will tell you that I'm deeply caring of my team. I care about their careers, I care about their personalities, I care about what is going on at home. Not just from a lip service caring point of view. I always tell my team to plan your career independent of where you work, including working for me or working with me. Invest in yourself. Make yourself so valuable that I would struggle to keep you. And in doing, you cannot really lead a team effectively if they do not know that you care. But I always tell people that in caring for you comes respect as well. And in that respect comes responsibility. And because I care about you, because I care about what happens to you, not just at work, but outside of the workplace, that means I respect you. With that respect comes responsibility for you to perform. So I demand performance, I drive hard for performance, but I also listen to the human part of it because I have a degree in psychology. And I know that people would release their discretionary energy when they connect to something other than the work you want them to deliver for you.
So powerful. It's beyond the task at hand. I was on a program recently where many entrepreneurs had the question of how do you develop the culture in the business that you're building? Yes, you've come from corporate and you've got your own personality and style and mission and purpose. How do you begin to build that culture of how we treat each other and how we connect and how we perform? Any advice to any soulmate who's trying to build a culture in their business?
Two things. In my opinion, I think we as business owners, we lead by example and we model the behavior. The same way we I don't think at any point in time my father ever came to say, don't lie, don't steal, don't do this. But I know my father doesn't lie. Lying is not tolerated in my house, in our household when we were growing up. Stealing definitely wasn't tolerated. You weren't allowed to do the barest minimum in a house. So you must always go above and beyond. So how I model it when I give people a task, and I notice, I think it's a Gen Z thing. When you give them a task, they only think about, this is what she has asked me to do, full stop. They don't go the extra mile. Okay, this hasn't worked. Have I thought about this? Have I thought about that? So when we're in a meeting and I'm saying, oh, we're having a problem with this particular regulator, what is the problem? Have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? So they see me walking through basic things like, let me give you an example. We recently moved offices and I walked into the office one day. It was really untidy. I have a bit of OCD. So one of the things I went up to my office, I sat down. So I called the person in charge of facilities and I asked him, if one of our clients walked in the office right now, if you are our client and you walked into the office right now, would you give us a multi-million naira job to do? She looked around and she said no. I said, why? I said, oh, the office is very untidy. I said, so why didn't you do something about it? So creating that culture of ownership and not letting people think that it is that person's job. If that person doesn't do it, we have to model it. So what I then did was I went down, picked up the mop, and everybody started running around me. Picked up the mop, and then the cleaner said, no, I'll do that. Oh, no, I'll do that. So when you show people that, and you model the behavior constantly, apart from putting the words on the wall to say, oh, respect, oh, teamwork, you show the teamwork yourself. You're in the trenches with your people. And from day one, you do not compromise on those values and those behaviors that are going to be the bedrock of your culture, irrespective of how talented someone is. That's how you start to build and seed the kind of culture that you want to create.
Love that. So you're walking the talk and they get to see it. And it's not abstract. It's not this thing on the wall, but it's something they can touch and feel and experience.
Yeah.
All
Petrina,
right.
Petrina, I was gonna ask Bola a question. Bola, I think one of the things I liked about what you said earlier was talk to me like I'm an idiot. That's a new word for me. Because I used to say, talk to me like I'm 5-year-old. Just explain it to me. But I think I like the idiot one better. And this piece around culture and driving a culture of ownership and accountability. I recall you told me, or you shared a story with me about a driver who messed up and how he transformed based on how you engaged him. I'd love for our soulmates to hear that story because, picking up the mop is okay, but there were other things you've done that have really created long-term impact and that sense of ownership, because that's a big struggle for a lot of companies across the world.
So there's a driver. Was it the driver that crashed the car?
Yes,
Okay.
that one.
So
the truck.
we hired, yes. So we hired a driver, in my new company, and he crashed the truck. Maybe 3 weeks into his coming into the organization. And it was a brand new truck. It was really expensive. And I was coming from when I was on the phone and I was going to fire him. I was seething, I was screaming, I was shouting. But the moment I got out of my car and I saw the guy and I saw the way his entire count, he was really sorry. It really felt bad. As I was stepping out of the car, something dropped in my heart and it says, blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. So I went to him and I told him, I know you didn't intend to do this. We're going to fix it. But we can't keep this truck. We need to make money. So what do we need to do to ensure it doesn't happen again? Ensure it does not happen again. Now, this guy has not only gone to be, our fleet has grown from 1 to 5. And this guy has not only gone out to be an exemplary driver. He's now our head driver, and his record, if everybody is doing 5 trips a day, Larry is doing 15. He looks after the trucks. He's calling the people to order. He ensures our trucks are well looked after. He ensures the drivers don't drink. He ensures they do all the things they need to do when they need to do it. Sometimes listening to some people will call it intuition. I will call it the Holy Spirit. Listening when the Holy Spirit drops something in your heart. I heard it. I can't. As I was stepping, and Ejamin knows me personally, I am a strong black woman. I don't back down. So
No.
I was going to fire him. There was no way. But I stepped out of the car and I heard it. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. So I think sometimes when good people come our way, we should also remember that they are human and they will make mistakes. So when they make those mistakes, we should extend the same grace that God has given to us. We should extend the same grace to them as well. This guy, my partner in that business, and we were like, is what his weight in gold? And what would we have done without him? Because I could have fired him, gotten another driver that will have shown me Pepe Pro Max, but he just, sometimes when people mess up in our organizations, we should just extend a bit of grace and learn to listen to the inner voice on how to. And when we pray in the morning that God should guide our steps, we should actually watch out and listen for the guides that the Lord is going to be dropping in our ways as well.
Oh my God, that's so profound, Bola. So profound. Because in the beginning, you started off by saying that you're very red and blue, or blue and red. I am equally like that.
Yeah.
And in my personal life, even professional life, I've been known to have this incredible, scary drive that frightens people, because I am driven for results. Let's get it done. Let's get the job done. I have a delivery mindset. But as I evolve, I'm beginning to realize that thing about, if people don't know that you care, they will not care for what is important to you. So well done on just being able to flex. You said you dial up, you dial down. You're looking at the results, but you're also looking at their humanity, and you're praying about it, and you have faith. You're a woman of faith. And I think that in everything we do, in the endeavors we go through with life, we cannot think that it's by our power only. That Holy Spirit is a mix that we must, very critical. Katrina, over to you.
No, it's just so powerful.
Yeah.
And there are many people that don't know how to. We're so freaking learned sometimes that we don't understand or can't interpret gut when God speaks, when the intuition, when it's in that spiritual realm. I know for me, and you've heard me say it a million times, but at the limit of my intellect, when I discovered intuition and when I began to envelop it. Because especially as an engineer, you're used to solving problems systematically. But when you come into things where you've just got, putting in an RFP, you don't know how it's going to turn out. You don't have, leaping into faith and walking into faith and trusting your instincts. It's just so powerful. Anyway, I'm loving what you shared, and I'm sure our soulmates are just eating it up. So this is where you are today. And this is the journey so far. So looking ahead, how do you plan to grow further in your construction business, or maybe there's some other passion bubbling? And what advice would you offer to other professionals considering a dramatic career pivot? Because we're pivoting like we're on the dance floor. You pivot. What's the next step?
Next step for me, I want to. I'm creating a niche for myself, and I'm still trying to understand what it means. Is going from very high luxury homes and student housing. Student housing for me is a different story. One day when you have time, I would tell you about it. For me, it's just to be the best at what we're doing now, and actually help other women build their wealth using buy property. That's what it is for me. And letting other women know that you just don't have to put your money in some account. Take a bit of risk. It's not going to kill you. Take a bit of risk. That is what is what is in terms of the next steps for the business. Just consolidating and understanding what we're doing, formalize the business, and help other women know that you can do it too. Then in terms of people that want to pivot, there's another thing I always tell people that come to me to say, how do I change? I said, the Bible says, I will bless the work of your hands. So that means there must always be something in your hands for him to bless. And every time God wants to do something, he would ask the person, what is in your hand? Whether it is the fish, whether it's the rod, whatever it is. God has given all of us some kind of gift to another. Sometimes we don't see it as something we can make money from. Mine just started as I liked interiors, but I was tired of doing the interiors of homes that were not well built. So I just pivoted that way. Some other people might just be that they write really well. So there is something else they can do in the realms of copywriting, editing, or just becoming an author. I think people should look inwards and say, what do I actually really enjoy now that will make me money? There's no point in you enjoying it and it will not make you money. You're going to starve. So look for something that you enjoy doing and will make you money. And sometimes you might not even enjoy doing it. You're just pretty good at it. Because the fundamentals of how I grew my career, I always tell people, like, people will say they took a job because they were passionate about it. Me, I was just passionate about being successful. And whatever I had to do, I took a job so that I can get the job. So sometimes you might not even be passionate about something, but you're pretty good at it and people will pay you good money for it. So when you want to pivot, start with doing those things. Do the hard things so that you can do the things you really want to do. And don't be afraid of looking like an idiot. I'm not afraid to ask stupid questions. I'm not afraid to be in a place of incompetence. Because if you always want to look like the boss that has the answer to everything, it won't work. So if you're pivoting, know that you're going back to where you probably were 20, 25, 30 years ago when you were being... And there's nothing wrong with it. But the only thing is you are going to catch up faster. It's not going to take you 30 years to become an expert because all the experience you have in your current life is going to come to bear. So trust in yourself and listen to your instincts and have a bit of confidence in what you can do. And start small. Start small. Don't believe the social media hype of, oh, I started 2 days ago and blah, blah, blah. This is what... It is not true. It is not true.
But what comes quickly often leaves quickly as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, what do you think about this soft life? Because I heard you use the term of yes, do the hard things so you'll be able to do the soft things. But a lot, this generation's talk about, I want the soft life.
Well, I don't believe anything is such... I don't believe in anything such as a soft life. There's a story one of my mentors keeps telling me. And he told me, you're familiar with Nigeria, so he would tell me something like, very few families pass wealth from generation to generation to generation because they do not teach their children how to work hard, how to hard work for the money that they are spending. So it's okay if you want a soft life, but a soft life is not sustainable. Somebody is funding your soft life. So it's either your parents or your partner or whatever, but somebody is funding your soft life. So if somebody is funding the soft life, it is not sustainable. And there's no way, whether you're Christian, Muslim, wherever it is you're from, or you have no faith at all, hard work is the basis of any kind of wealth. Apart from the grace of God, there must be something for God. Soft life is a myth, and it's a social media myth. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying the fruits of your labor and having time to just sit down and relax and have a good time when you want, or retiring to spend your money. But you cannot base your entire existence on soft life. It does not exist. Nothing such as a soft life exists.
What I would add to that just struck me as you were talking is a soft life makes for a soft person. So when adversity comes, it'll just blow you away.
Absolutely.
Because you never built any staying power.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Over to you, Jay.
All right. I was going to ask Bola a question, and I'm going to deviate off script for a little bit. Bola, I want you to please share with our soulmates. When you say God has blessed you and we have to remember to be a blessing to others, I know you spend quite a lot of time, Bola, supporting the less privileged. And I know that you are doing that because there is some meaning it has for you. I would love for you to sort of walk us through some of the things you're doing and how you'd encourage other people who have been as fortunate as yourself to equally keep an eye on humanity and not just themselves.
Okay, so my husband and I believe that education is key. That the greatest gift you can give anyone is a gift of education. So we support the church I belong to, plant schools in the slums of Lagos and I think Ogun State. And it is a totally tuition-free school, from your books to your education. They're called Bethesda schools. You can look them up online. So they all usually have like a waiting list of hundreds and thousands of children. And it is donor sponsored. Everything in that school is by people donating. So my husband and I sponsor a number of kids in the school all the time, and in the school, and we always ensure we have a minimum number of children that we're sponsoring every year. So as some are passing out, we replace them. As some are passing out, we replace them, because we think that is the greatest gift you can give anybody: education. I also sit on the board of trustees of a foundation called 21 Foundation. 21 Foundation, we walk 21 kilometers every year and we raise money. So we support children living with HIV/AIDS. We support special needs kids in public institutions, public schools. We support a children's hospice in Lagos. We support United for Kids. So all the money we raise at the end of the year, every year, we split it across this like six children's foundations and children charities every year, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, I can't always walk 21 kilometers. Last year, I told them I'll be at the water stand, handing out water to the people walking the 21 kilometers. But it's always, we've done it for 11 or 10 years now, and it started as a joke. My cousin Shola Ishmael, someone dared her to walk 21 kilometers, and he will give her 1,000 naira for every kilometer she walked. And all of us were like, okay, let's support you, we'll work with you. And that's how we started, and we've been doing it for 10 years now. 10 or 11 years now.
This is so brilliant, Bola. And the reason why I was particularly keen for you to share is because we're also looking for foundations. Our podcast, myself and Petrenia, Pepper Soup Stories, looking for foundations that are doing truly remarkable things. And this is so impressive. And I completely agree with you. Education, investment. I mean, it unlocks generational wealth, right? So you have someone who had nothing, then they get something, then they realize that, oh my God, I have this exposure. I need to do the same for others. And it just, pays itself forward. I'm so excited you've said that. And also just sharing the 21 Foundation. I would love to be part of it. So you must share details.
We'll send you an invite December to come and work with us.
I would be happy to. I'm
Me too now.
Be in town. She'll be in town, so we can maybe
come and
meet
join
in
us.
person. Yeah.
Some people show off. Some people show off. Some people run. Some people ride
I'm
a bicycle.
not running. I can ride a
Some
bicycle.
of us walk very slowly, but we will try.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know what? You're really proving a principle that if we don't have habits of physical well-being, it limits the impact we're able to have.
Absolutely. 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 Absolutely.
If you like what you've heard so far, please like, share, comment, and subscribe.
There's one more question, and I know we're running out of time, but there's one more question that I'm curious about. And it's very debatable what you would say and what people would agree or disagree with. So hold on for the question. So, when we talked about identity, Bola, I'm very passionate about values, being true to my personal values and making sure my personal values are aligned with the organization that I work with, right? And we've had history working in HR. But I also find out that sometimes you can get to a point where you subsume your identity for the corporate brand, right? And when that goes away, you're almost lost. So how would you advise that professionals who have not made that pivot yet, they can flex, they can balance, not lose themselves, not lose their values, and be authentic? Do you see what I mean? What are your thoughts? Yeah.
Well, I think as professionals, sometimes and I've done it myself in the past, we get lost because we define ourselves by what we do, who we work for, because of the kind of perceived prestige that we think that comes. Oh, I work for XXX, I work for this Fortune 500 company,
and this
I'm
is
the
my
corporate,
title. Exactly.
and this is my title, and things like that.
Yeah.
My husband told me a long time ago, and I laugh, but it is true. He says all those things are all nicknames. They're not who you are. Because when they strip those things away, and they will, it's a matter of time. Either you get fired, you retire, you resign, or something happens. Those things will go away. Who are you? So when you introduce yourself, who are you? And I always tell people, try to create an identity for yourself that is outside of where you work or the kind of work you do. Be known for who you are as a person. My name is Bola Olajomi Otubu, full stop. The reason why, because if I'm HR director in this multinational or in this Fortune 500 company tomorrow, that can change. And sometimes I've seen a lot of my colleagues and my friends get lost because they do not know how to reinvent or because they've tied their purpose and their work, their personalities and into work so much. And work is just one part of who we are, and it's a very small part of who we are actually when we look at it in the long term, because we're going to be parents forever, aren't we? But we tend to, and we're going to be spouses or partners for much longer than we're going to be employees. But people tend to forget all of that, and we're going to be someone's daughter, someone's sister, someone's friend. So who are you, and how are you nurturing that part of you outside of the kind of work you do? And I was having a conversation with Ejeme, I think yesterday or the day before, and I was saying people also forget that sometimes the brand of the organization is what people are looking at, not you, when you put the brand before who you are and the value you bring to the table yourself. So that when that brand then goes away, people then do not know how to evaluate who you are. So when people overhype, and this is my personal opinion, I might be wrong, when people overinvest in tying their self to a particular brand, and it's all about the title and the Fortune 500, not about who they are and the character and the personality and who they are alone when there are no lights there. That is when they get lost, in my opinion.
I've got one for you. Know your secret sauce and serve it regularly.
And I'm gonna add mine. Know your superpower and honor it.
Yes.
Just know your superpower, because that drives your purpose. That has meaning for you. and that is on, fundamentally your values that you now, bring out in terms of strength. So Bola, look, I'm not going to add anything because what you said is wisdom, is deep. I love the point you made, and you stress particularly that you're not going to be in a job forever, right? You're going to be a partner, you're going to be a sister, you're going to be a brother. Now you're reminding me to call my sister. So I call my dad, so I think this is really deep, and I love everything you said, and we really have to nurture the core of who we are. Thank you so much. Katrina, you want to drive the rapid fire questions as we wrap up with...
Here we go.
Yay!
Okay. Yeah, being the person that you are and how you're getting it done, what's a book that you would recommend, or what's one of the best books you've read recently?
The Art of War. I read it all the time. I've read it. I think I've read it like 1,000,001 times. I love the book a lot, and it's never far away from my desk wherever I am. It's something that I read all the time. Know your enemy, but know yourself better.
Whoa, I love that. Know your enemy,
but know yourself better. So
how did it
just
help
means
you?
that yes. How does it help me?
How did the book help you?
Oh, it helps me, number one, in knowing what my limitations are, and in knowing that those limitations are not necessarily weaknesses, and knowing how to lead with my strength, and knowing how to leverage my weaknesses as well.
Lead with strength and leverage your weaknesses.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so powerful. Huh. Okay, this is supposed to be rapid because we could go deep on that. I love it. Art of War, and it's Su Song.
Yeah.
Isn't that the author?
Yeah, that's my favorite. I read it all the time. All the time.
All right. Are you coffee or tea?
Definitely coffee.
Yes. High octane. I call it coffee.
Definitely coffee.
Do you have a go-to productivity hack?
Yes, what I do is I'll faff around during the day. Then around midnight, when everywhere is quiet, everything just centers, and I can just push through whatever I need to do. So when I know I'm really struggling with something, I let it go. Then at night, when everywhere is quiet, it's like I can see it unfolding on a TV screen. My brain works better.
Yeah. You land that Adams song, but I can see myself at the finish line. Got to visualize.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll fall in line. So what is your favorite hobby outside of work? Since you made your hobby your work, are there any other hobbies outside of work?
Yeah, I like to, apart from reading, I like to watch TV a lot, but not any kind of TV. I like to watch accidents. What's that thing on Discovery that they do a lot? How they were made and how accidents happen. And let me explain to you why I like watching those things. I like watching them to see, so at what point did the human error come in and what could they have done better? It's still part of work, but it just helps my brain stay alive.
Love that. You've done great on the rapid fire. I'm going to hand back to Jay to wrap up.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed our time with you. So, and I'm sure our soulmates have as well. So thank you, soulmates, for joining us on another insightful episode of Pepper Soup Stories. We've spent an amazing time today with Bola Olajumotubu, and she's taking us through her amazing journey of life, her career transitions, and the many facets of her personality. She's dropped so many nuggets for us. So Bola, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Deep. It was insightful. It was powerful. I'm going to call my sister, like I said, because I'm going to be a sister forever. And look, I think the message for us as we sign off is we want to remind all women, we call our women listeners soulmates, that it's very important, for everyone to pamper their soul. Because as we always say, our soul is our baby. And when it flourishes, so do you, right? So that's all. Katrina, you want to sort of take it off?
What I'm loving about this, if we were to say what was the pepper was the termination from your corporate role. And the pepper soup was you overcoming that particular thing and starting your property business and leaning into your strengths and leaning into your passions and purposes. And your strategy around that was to move away from defense and come up with your own offense. Find the courage. Some of the takeaways that I had was that was your kick in the butt. And in hindsight, you gain perspective of how important that was. Inventorying your strengths, looking inward, knowing what you did not know, being able to step into conscious incompetence and be vulnerable, adopting a learner's mind, a growth mindset, being willing to ask why. And that statement that you said, what is it? Be Speak to me as if I'm an idiot.
An
Explain it
idiot.
to me like I'm
Yeah.
an idiot. I love that. And you feel blessed by the helpers that you've had. Some of us call them destiny helpers that show up. And that, for me, my beliefs are that happens in synchronicity. Things that we can't design ourselves. God is showing up as a nudge. The three C's: having clarity that moves you to competence and you land with confidence. That's example with your JV partnership. The other person had confidence for you to do and you jumped in. When opportunities come, grab it. You don't have to know the beginning to the end, just the next step. Your leadership approach is that you've learned to slow down, being able to dial up and expand into different styles based on the situation, understanding trade-offs. And your team members would really see you as building a culture of walking the talk, modeling the behavior, making it very clear what teamwork looks like. And you'll fire someone more for behavioral things than you will for technical competence or skill set. So it's a mindset thing for you that if your mind is in the right place, I can mold you. And in building that culture, is very key to build accountability and ownership. And in the career pivot space, I just wrote down some nuggets here, but looking inwards, thing you enjoy, make sure to also make you money. Oftentimes the thing that you enjoy, people can't see the path to money. So sometimes you have to have, Jay introduced me to the personal board of directors. Often you need people to help you to see how that skill can translate into be monetized. But you're looking to create a niche to pivot from luxury into student housing. I would love to talk to you about that. But the 21 Foundation is something you have passion for. And when you're able to build your wealth, you are able to use it for things you care about with the Bethesda School. So keeping an eye on humanity is key. It's not all about you. And we're talking about from brand to legacy. And know your secret sauce, serve it regularly. Know your superpower, lean into it. And the Bible says, I will be blessed by the work of my hands, but your hands must be carrying something. So don't try to leave that soft life. Lean into a God-driven purpose life. So know your enemy, but know yourself better. I'll land with that from Art of War. You have dropped a masterclass today. We are blessed to sit with you, Bola. Thank you for giving us the time.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really nice spending time with you ladies. Thank you so much. Really honored. Thank you.
We are honored. Thank you so much, Bola. Thank you
you.
for saying yes. Okay.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share with a friend, leave a review, and connect with us on social media. Your support means the world to us. Until next time, soulmates, stay inspired, keep growing, and turn life's peppers into a flavorful soup. Connect below. Bye-bye for now.